Keep an eye out for the golden star during the video. If you spot it, comment the time you saw it, and you'll get a shout out in our next video. Happy hunting! Cybernetic Samurai, Battle for Tokyo's Future. Tokyo's skyline shimmered under the neon glow of countless billboards and advertisements. The city was a living tapestry, weaving ancient traditions with cutting-edge technology. Amidst the hustle and bustle, the samurai district stood as a testament to a bygone era. Narrow streets lined with wooden houses and cherry blossom trees offered a stark contrast to the towering skyscrapers of the corporate sector. Ryo Matsumoto walked these streets with a sense of unease, his cybernetic limbs moving silently under his dark cloak. He had once been a celebrated samurai, a guardian of honor and tradition. Now he was a cybernetic enforcer, a reluctant tool in a world that seemed to have forgotten its roots. The weight of his past failures bore heavily on him, each step a reminder of his lost honor. Tonight, however, the streets felt different. Whispers of a new threat had reached his ears, a threat that promised to disrupt the fragile balance of this futuristic metropolis. Technozenith, a powerful megacorporation, had announced the launch of their latest project, a line of cybernetic samurai designed to enforce their control over Tokyo. The news had stirred memories of old battles and ancient oaths, bringing with them a sense of foreboding. Ryo's thoughts were interrupted by the sound of approaching footsteps. He turned to see a young courier, eyes wide with urgency. "Matsumoto-san," the boy panted. "Your mentor, he's been killed." The words struck Ryo like a physical blow. His mentor, the one who had trained him, who had believed in him when he no longer believed in himself, was dead. The boy handed him a small data chip. "He wanted you to have this." Ryo took the chip and nodded, his mind already racing with questions. He needed answers, and there was only one place he could go. With a determined stride, he made his way to the heart of the samurai district, where his mentor's dojo stood. The dojo was eerily quiet, the usual hum of training sessions absent. Ryo entered the main hall, the floorboards creaking under his weight. He inserted the data chip into his wrist console, a holographic image flickering to life before him. His mentor's voice, calm and steady even in death, filled the room. "Ryo, if you're seeing this, it means I've been silenced. Technozenith's new project is more than it appears. They aim to control Tokyo, to erase our heritage. You must stop them. Seek out the old ways. They hold the key to defeating this threat. Trust in the balance of tradition and technology." As the message ended, Ryo clenched his fists, anger and sorrow mingling within him. His mentor's death was not just a loss. It was a call to action. He had a duty to protect the city, to uphold the honor of the samurai, and to stop Technozenith from destroying everything he held dear. Ryo's journey was just beginning. He knew that the path ahead would be fraught with danger and that he would need to confront his own demons along the way. But for now, he had a mission and he would see it through. He stepped out of the dojo, the night air cool against his skin. The neon lights of Tokyo seemed to burn brighter, as if the city itself were calling him to action. With renewed determination, Ryo Matsumoto set off into the night, ready to embrace the shadows of his past and forge a new destiny for the future. The neon-lit streets of Tokyo pulsed with life, yet Ryo felt a growing tension with each step he took away from the dojo. His mentor's message echoed in his mind, urging him to seek out the old ways. Technozenith's ambition was a looming shadow over the city, threatening to snuff out the very soul of Tokyo. Ryo knew he had to act swiftly, but first he needed more information. Ryo's destination was the Hidden Scrolls Library, an ancient repository of knowledge preserved by generations of samurai. Tucked away in a secluded corner of the samurai district, the library was a sanctuary for those who sought wisdom and guidance from the past. As he approached the entrance, he was greeted by an elderly librarian, Master Tanaka, whose eyes held the weight of countless secrets. "Ryo," Master Tanaka said, his voice a gentle whisper, "I heard about your mentor. He was a great man." Ryo bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Master Tanaka. I need your help. My mentor left me a message, warning me about Technozenith. He said the old ways hold the key to defeating them." Master Tanaka nodded thoughtfully. The old ways are more than just traditions. They are the essence of our identity. Come, let us find what you seek. The library's interior was a maze of wooden shelves, each filled with scrolls and books detailing the rich history and knowledge of the samurai. Master Tanaka led Ryo to a secluded alcove, where a collection of ancient texts lay undisturbed. These scrolls, Master Tanaka said, gesturing to the collection, contain the wisdom of our ancestors. They speak of a balance between tradition and innovation, a harmony that we must strive to maintain. Ryo carefully unrolled one of the scrolls, revealing intricate diagrams and calligraphy. The text spoke of a forgotten technique, a fusion of samurai combat skills and emerging cybernetic technology. It was a revelation, a potential path to countering Technozenith's Cybernetic Samurai. As he absorbed the knowledge, a sense of clarity washed over him. This was the key his mentor had hinted at, a way to fight fire with fire while preserving the essence of the samurai. "Thank you, Master Tanaka," Ryo said, determination in his voice. "I will honor our ancestors and use this knowledge to protect Tokyo." "Remember, Ryo," Master Tanaka replied, "true strength comes from within. Trust in yourself and the path you choose." Leaving the library, Ryo felt a renewed sense of purpose. He needed allies, those who still believed in the old ways and would stand against Technozenith's tyranny. His first stop was the underground dojo of Kenji, a former samurai turned underground fighter. Kenji had once been Ryo's closest friend before the lure of the cybernetic enhancements had driven them apart. The underground dojo was a stark contrast to the serene Hidden Scrolls library. It was a place of raw energy, where fighters honed their skills in dimly lit arenas. Ryo found Kenji sparring with a group of students, his movements fluid and precise. "Kenji," Ryo called out, stepping into the arena. The fighters paused, turning to see who had interrupted their training. Kenji's eyes narrowed as he recognized Ryo. "What brings you here, Ryo? Have you come to settle old scores?" "No," Ryo replied calmly. "I've come for your help. Technozenith is planning to take over Tokyo with their new cybernetic samurai. We need to stand together, like we once did." Kenji studied Ryo for a moment, then nodded. "All right, Ryo. For the sake of our city, and for our old friendship, I'm with you." With Kenji by his side, Ryo felt the first stirrings of hope. They spent the next hours planning their next moves, reaching out to other former samurai and traditionalists who had resisted the corporate allure. As the night deepened, Ryo's resolve hardened. His mentor's death had set him on this path, but it was his duty to protect Tokyo that fueled his determination. He would blend the old ways with the new, forging a weapon that could stand against Technozenith's might. In the heart of the samurai district, amidst the whispers of ancient wisdom and the echoes of modern strife, Ryo Matsumoto began his journey to reclaim his honor and safeguard his city. The warrior within him had awakened, ready to face the battles ahead. The dim light of dawn filtered through the paper-thin walls of Kenji's dojo. Ryo sat cross-legged on the wooden floor, deep in thought. His mind churned with the revelations from the Hidden Scrolls library and the looming threat of Technozenith. The techniques he had learned were promising, but he needed more than knowledge. He needed a plan and a team ready to challenge the megacorporation's growing influence. Kenji approached, handing Ryo a cup of steaming green tea. "You've been up all night," he remarked, sitting down beside him. "What's our next move?" Ryo took a sip, savoring the warmth. "We need to understand Technozenith's operations from the inside. They've grown too powerful, too fast. There must be a weakness we can exploit." Kenji nodded thoughtfully. "I have a contact within the corporate sector. She's been feeding us information for months. But it's risky. If they catch her, we don't have a choice," Ryo interrupted. "We need to know what we're up against." Later that day, under the cover of a bustling marketplace, Ryo and Kenji made their way to a discreet tea house on the edge of the corporate sector. The blend of traditional architecture and modern technology was evident even here, with holographic menus hovering above bamboo tables. They were greeted by Hannah, a young woman with sharp eyes and an air of quiet confidence. "Hannah," Kenji said, inclining his head. "This is Ryo Matsumoto. We need your help." Hana's eyes flickered with recognition and respect. "I've heard of you, Matsumoto-san. Your reputation precedes you." She motioned for them to sit. "What do you need to know?" Ryo leaned in, lowering his voice. "Everything you can tell us about Technozenith's new Cybernetic Samurai project. We need to find a way to stop them." Hana glanced around cautiously before speaking. Technozenith has been developing these Cybernetic Samurai for years. They're designed to be the perfect enforcers, loyal only to the corporation. They've integrated ancient samurai techniques with advanced cybernetics, creating warriors who are almost unbeatable. Kenji's brow furrowed. "Almost." Hana nodded. "There is a failsafe, a backdoor in their programming, a way to shut them down. But accessing it is nearly impossible. The codes are kept in the main headquarters, heavily guarded and encrypted." Ryo's mind raced. "If we can get those codes, we can turn their own weapons against them." Hana hesitated. "There's more. Technozenith isn't just planning to control Tokyo. They're looking to expand, to take over other cities and eventually entire countries. This project is just the beginning." The weight of her words settled over them. The stakes were higher than they had imagined. Ryo felt a surge of determination. "We need to act fast. If they succeed, there will be no stopping them." As they left the tea house, Ryo and Kenji discussed their next steps. They needed a plan to infiltrate Technozenith's headquarters, a task that would require skill, precision, and more allies. "We'll need help," Kenji said. "I know some old friends who might be willing to join us. Disillusioned samurai, hackers, those who have been wronged by Technozenith." Ryo nodded. "Gather them. We'll need every advantage we can get." Over the next few days, the dojo became a hive of activity. Kenji's recruits trickled in, each with their own story of loss and anger towards Technozenith. There was Akira, a former hacker whose family had been ruined by the corporation. Yumi, a skilled martial artist whose dojo had been bought out and demolished. And Hiro, a disillusioned cybernetic engineer who had once worked on the very project they were now aiming to dismantle. As Ryo trained with his new allies, he felt a growing sense of camaraderie and purpose. They were all united by a common goal: to take down Technozenith and protect their city. One evening, as the group gathered to finalize their plans, Ryo addressed them. "We are up against a formidable enemy, but we have something they don't: the strength of our convictions and the wisdom of our ancestors. We will fight for Tokyo, for our heritage, and for our future. Together, we will prevail." The dojo echoed with their determined voices, each one a pledge to the battle ahead. Ryo knew that the road would be long and fraught with danger, but he also knew that they were ready. The hidden conspiracy had been unveiled, and now it was time to strike. As they dispersed to prepare for the mission, Ryo stood alone for a moment, looking out over the city. The neon lights shimmered in the distance, a reminder of the delicate balance between tradition and progress. With renewed resolve, he turned back to his allies, ready to lead them into the fray. The fight for Tokyo had begun. Night had fallen, and Tokyo's neon lights painted the city in vibrant hues. The team had gathered in an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the Samurai District, their base of operations for the mission ahead. The air was thick with anticipation as Ryo laid out the final details of their plan. "We strike tonight," Ryo declared, his voice steady. "Our target is Technozenith's main headquarters. Hana's information has given us a way in, but we need to move quickly and efficiently. Remember, our goal is to retrieve the failsafe codes and cripple their Cybernetic Samurai project." Kenji stepped forward, his eyes meeting each member of the team. "This is our chance to make a difference. We fight not just for ourselves, but for the soul of our city." With their resolve hardened, the team set out under the cover of darkness. They moved through the city with practiced stealth, avoiding surveillance drones and security patrols. The towering edifice of Technozenith's headquarters loomed ahead, a monolith of glass and steel that symbolized the corporation's dominance. They approached the building's perimeter, where Hana awaited them. "The security grid will be down for exactly 5 minutes," she whispered. Once inside, Head to the central server room. That's where you'll find the codes. Ryo nodded, signaling his team to move. They slipped past the outer defenses and entered the building, their presence unnoticed amidst the hum of corporate activity. The halls were sleek and sterile, a stark contrast to the bustling, vibrant streets outside. As they neared the server room, the air grew tense. Ryo could sense the impending confrontation. They reached the reinforced door, and Hannah quickly hacked the control panel. The door slid open with a hiss, revealing a sprawling chamber filled with rows of servers and glowing terminals. "Spread out," Ryo ordered. "Find the main console and download the codes." The team fanned out, scanning the room for the central terminal. Suddenly, a klaxon blared, and red lights bathed the chamber in an ominous glow. "We've been detected," Kenji shouted, drawing his sword. A squad of Technozenith's Cybernetic Samurai burst into the room, their movements precise and mechanical. The clash of steel and the crackle of energy weapons filled the air as Ryo and his team engaged the enemy. Ryo's blade danced through the air, a seamless blend of traditional swordsmanship and enhanced agility. He parried a strike from one of the cybernetic warriors, countering with a swift slash that disabled its primary functions. To his left, Yumi's martial arts prowess was on full display as she deftly disarmed and incapacitated another opponent. Hiro, positioned at the central terminal, worked furiously to bypass the encryption. "I need more time," he called out, his fingers flying over the keyboard. "Hold them off," Ryo commanded, his focus unwavering. Kenji faced off against a particularly formidable cybernetic samurai, its advanced armor reflecting the harsh red light. Their blades clashed, the sound of metal on metal reverberating through the chamber. Kenji's movements were a symphony of precision and power, each strike calculated to exploit weaknesses in his opponent's defenses. Amidst the chaos, Akira used his hacking skills to disrupt the cybernetic warriors' communication networks, causing momentary confusion and giving the team a crucial advantage. Ryo engaged another adversary, his blade slicing through the air with lethal intent. The cybernetic samurai's movements were swift, but Ryo's training and determination allowed him to anticipate and counter each attack. He saw an opening and delivered a decisive blow, severing the warrior's control unit. "Hurry, Hiro," Ryo urged, glancing towards the terminal. "I'm almost there," Hiro responded, sweat beading on his forehead. The tide of the battle began to turn in their favor, but the constant onslaught of enemies threatened to overwhelm them. Ryo knew they couldn't hold out much longer. Just as hope began to wane, Hiro's voice rang out triumphantly. "I've got the codes. We're in. Fall back," Ryo shouted, covering their retreat as the team made their way to the exit. They fought their way through the building, navigating a gauntlet of security forces and automated defenses. As they neared the exit, an explosion rocked the corridor, momentarily disorienting them. Ryo looked back to see a group of heavily armed Technozenith enforcers closing in. "Go," he ordered, ushering his team through the exit. "I'll cover you." Kenji hesitated, but Ryo's determined gaze left no room for argument. "We'll meet you at the rendezvous point," Kenji vowed, leading the others to safety. Ryo turned to face the oncoming enforcers, his blade at the ready. He fought with the ferocity of a cornered beast, his every move a testament to his skill and resolve. The enforcers fell one by one, but Ryo knew he couldn't hold them off indefinitely. With a final, powerful strike, he disabled the last of the immediate threats and dashed through the exit, the night air a welcome relief. He regrouped with his team at a safe house on the outskirts of the city, where they breathed a collective sigh of relief. "We did it," Hiro said, holding up the data drive containing the failsafe codes. Ryo nodded, a rare smile crossing his face. "This is just the beginning. We have the means to fight back. Now we take the battle to them." The team's victory was a beacon of hope in the darkness, a promise that the fight for Tokyo's future had only just begun. With the failsafe codes in their possession, they had the power to challenge Technozenith's tyranny and reclaim their city. As the first light of dawn broke over Tokyo, Ryo and his allies prepared for the battles yet to come, their spirits unbroken and their resolve unyielding. The safe house buzzed with quiet activity as the team prepared for their next move. Ryo stood by a map spread across a makeshift table, plotting their strategy. The mission to infiltrate Technozenith's headquarters had been a success, but now they needed to leverage the failsafe codes to dismantle the corporation's Cybernetic Samurai. "We have the codes," Ryo said, addressing his team. "But to deploy them effectively, we need to strike Technozenith at multiple points simultaneously. This will require precision and coordination." Kenji nodded, his eyes scanning the map. "We should target their communication hubs. Disrupting their network will cripple their ability to control the Cybernetic Samurai." Hiro chimed in, "I've been working on a virus that can spread through their systems once we access their mainframes. It will activate the failsafe codes and shut down their cybernetic units." Ryo looked around at his assembled allies. "We'll need to divide into teams. Each group will hit a different target. We strike tonight, under the cover of darkness." As night fell, the team split into 3 groups. Ryo led one, Kenji another, and Hiro the third. Each team carried a copy of the virus and a plan to infiltrate their assigned target. Ryo's group approached the first communication hub, a nondescript building in the heart of the corporate sector. The streets were eerily quiet, a stark contrast to the usual bustle. They slipped inside, moving through the shadows like ghosts. Ryo's senses were heightened, every sound and movement scrutinized for potential threats. The interior of the hub was a maze of corridors and security checkpoints. Ryo motioned for his team to halt as they encountered a pair of guards. With silent precision, they neutralized the guards and moved deeper into the facility. They reached the main server room, where the hum of machinery filled the air. "Akira, you're up," Ryo whispered. Akira, the former hacker, nodded and approached the central terminal. His fingers danced over the keyboard, bypassing security protocols with practiced ease. "I'm in, uploading the virus now." A tense silence filled the room as they waited. The terminal beeped, indicating a successful upload. "Akira Green. It's done. Let's move." As they exited the server room, alarms blared and red lights flashed. "We need to get out now," Ryo commanded, leading his team back through the corridors. They encountered resistance, but their coordinated strikes and swift movements kept them ahead of the security forces. Meanwhile, Kenji's group faced their own challenges at the second communication hub. They encountered heavy resistance, the sound of clashing steel and energy weapons filling the air. Kenji's swordsmanship was a blur of motion, each strike precise and devastating. His team moved with a synchronized rhythm, cutting through the defenders with lethal efficiency. "We're almost there," Kenji shouted, pushing forward. They breached the server room and Yumi began the upload. The seconds ticked by, each one a lifetime, until the terminal signaled completion. "Let's go," Kenji ordered, leading his team in a fighting retreat. They fought their way through waves of enforcers, the air thick with the scent of ozone and the tang of blood. Kenji's resolve was unyielding, his every move a testament to his determination. Hiro's group encountered a different kind of obstacle at the third hub, advanced security drones patrolling the perimeter. Hiro and his team used a combination of stealth and electronic warfare to evade the drones, disabling them without raising alarms. They infiltrated the facility, making their way to the server room with minimal resistance. "Uploading the virus now," Hiro said, his voice calm despite the tension. The process completed smoothly, and they began their exfiltration. As all 3 teams converged on the safe house, the air was electric with the thrill of success. They had struck a significant blow against Technozenith, disrupting their control network and planting the seeds of their downfall. "We did it," Kenji said, his eyes gleaming with pride. Ryo nodded, his gaze sweeping over his allies. "This is only the beginning. We've shown Technozenith that we won't stand idly by. We fight for our city, for our heritage, and for our future." The team's victory was a beacon of hope, a testament to their resolve and unity. With the communication hubs disrupted and the fail-safe codes in place, they had taken a significant step toward dismantling Technozenith's tyranny. But they knew the battle was far from over. As dawn approached, Ryo and his allies prepared for the next phase of their campaign. The fight for Tokyo's future continued, their spirits unbroken and their determination unwavering. The dawn of the next day brought with it an eerie calm. Tokyo's usual vibrancy was muted, the city holding its breath in anticipation of the storm to come. Ryo and his team gathered in the safe house, the weight of their mission heavy in the air. They had struck a blow against Technozenith, but now it was time to take the battle to their doorstep. "We need to hit them hard and fast," Ryo said, his voice carrying a steely resolve. "Our goal is to dismantle their remaining operations and force them to retreat. We'll split into our groups again, each targeting a critical Technozenith facility." Kenji stepped forward, his eyes blazing with determination. "We've identified 3 key targets: their primary weapons depot, the main cybernetic research lab, and their executive headquarters. Disabling these will cripple their ability to retaliate." Hiro added, "I've updated the virus to not only shut down their cybernetic samurai, but also to disrupt their communication and logistics. This will sow chaos and make it easier for us to move." The team nodded, each member fully aware of the dangers ahead. As the sun set, they moved out, blending into the shadows of the city they were determined to protect. Ryo led his group towards the weapons depot, a heavily fortified building on the outskirts of the corporate sector. They navigated through the darkened streets, avoiding patrols and security drones. The depot loomed ahead, a stark, intimidating structure bristling with defenses. Ryo signaled for his team to spread out and take their positions. "We need to create a diversion," he whispered. "Akira, you and Yumi handle the outer guards. Hiro, you and I will take the central control room." Akira and Yumi moved with silent precision, taking down the guards with a combination of martial arts and stealth. The depot's outer defenses fell quickly, clearing the way for Ryo and Hiro to advance. Inside, the depot was a labyrinth of corridors and storage rooms. They moved swiftly, bypassing security systems and disabling automated defenses. They reached the control room, where a group of Technozenith operatives were monitoring the depot systems. Ryo burst into the room, his blade flashing in the dim light. The operatives barely had time to react before they were incapacitated. Hiro immediately went to work, accessing the main terminal and uploading the virus. "It's done," Hiro said, his voice steady. "We need to move. They'll know we're here soon." As they made their way back through the depot, alarms began to blare, and the building was bathed in red emergency lighting. They encountered heavy resistance, the sound of gunfire and clashing steel filling the air. Ryo's movements were a blur of lethal efficiency. He deflected a barrage of energy blasts, closing the distance to his attackers and dispatching them with swift, precise strikes. Hiro provided cover, using his cybernetic enhancements to disable security systems and create safe paths through the chaos. Meanwhile, Kenji's group approached the Cybernetic Research Lab, a sleek, modern building teeming with advanced technology. They used a combination of hacking and brute force to breach the perimeter, engaging in fierce combat with the lab's security forces. Kenji's blade was a whirlwind of motion, each strike calculated to disable and disarm. His team followed his lead, their movements synchronized and deadly. They fought their way to the main research chamber, where Yumi began the upload. "Cover me," Yumi shouted, her fingers flying over the keyboard. Kenji and the others formed a defensive perimeter, holding off waves of cybernetic samurai. The lab was a cacophony of clashing metal and energy blasts, the air thick with the scent of ozone and the heat of battle. "We're almost there," Yumi called out, the upload bar inching towards completion. At the same time, Hiro's group faced a different kind of battle at Technozenith's executive headquarters. The building was a fortress, with layers of security designed to protect the corporation's leaders. Hiro's team used a combination of stealth and electronic warfare to penetrate the defenses, moving like shadows through the halls. They reached the executive suites, where they encountered a squad of elite cybernetic enforcers. The battle was intense. Each member of Hiro's team pushed to their limits. They fought with a relentless determination, every strike and shot a testament to their resolve. As the virus finished uploading in the research lab, Yumi shouted, "We're in! Let's get out of here!" Kenji led his team in a fighting retreat, cutting through the remaining defenders and making their way to the rendezvous point. The lab systems were in disarray, the virus spreading chaos and confusion. Back at the weapons depot, Ryo's team fought their way to the exit, encountering heavy resistance. Ryo's blade was a dance of death, each movement fluid and lethal. They broke through the final line of defenders and regrouped outside. "We did it," Ryo said, breathing heavily. "Now we need to rendezvous with the others and plan our next move." As all three teams converged on their safe house, the city around them was in turmoil. Technozenith's operations were in disarray, their communication and logistics crippled by the virus. The fight was far from over, but they had struck a significant blow. The team's spirits were high as they regrouped, their victory a beacon of hope in the darkness. Ryo looked around at his allies, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the safe house lights. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We've shown them that we're a force to be reckoned with. We fight for Tokyo, for our heritage and for our future. Together we will prevail." As the first light of dawn broke over the city, Ryo and his allies prepared for the battles yet to come. Their resolve was unyielding, their spirits unbroken. The siege of Tokyo had begun, and they were ready to fight for its future. The morning sun cast a golden hue over Tokyo, but beneath the surface, the city simmered with tension. Ryo and his team had dealt Technozenith a heavy blow, but they knew the corporation would not take this defeat lightly. The final battle was looming, and the stakes had never been higher. Ryo gathered his team in the safe house. "Our attacks have disrupted their operations, but now we must confront them directly. Our target is Technozenith's central command. This is where we end their reign." Kenji's eyes were sharp with determination. "Yuki Hayashi will be there. She won't go down without a fight." Hiro added, "I've integrated the virus into a mobile device. We can deploy it directly into their mainframe to ensure complete system shutdown." As the team moved out, the city seemed to hold its breath. They navigated the streets with practiced stealth, the weight of their mission pressing down on them. Technozenith's headquarters loomed ahead, a towering fortress of steel and glass. The perimeter was heavily guarded, but Ryo's team had become adept at bypassing security. Akira and Yumi disabled the outer defenses, creating a path for the others. They moved swiftly and silently, entering the heart of the building. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. Technozenith's employees and guards were on high alert, but the team's movements were precise and coordinated. They navigated the labyrinthine corridors, encountering pockets of resistance that they dispatched with efficiency. As they neared the central command, the air grew thick with anticipation. Ryo signaled for his team to halt. "This is it. Stay sharp and stick to the plan." They burst into the command center, a sprawling room filled with monitors and control panels. At the center stood Yuki Hayashi, her presence commanding and formidable. She turned to face them, a cold smile on her lips. "Ryo Matsumoto," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. "I must admit, I'm impressed by your tenacity, but this ends now." Yuki signaled, and the room erupted into chaos. Elite cybernetic enforcers flooded in, their movements swift and deadly. Ryo's team spread out, engaging the attackers with a ferocity born of desperation and resolve. Ryo's blade was a blur, each strike a testament to his training and determination. He moved with a fluid grace, deflecting blows and countering with lethal precision. Kenji fought beside him, their movements synchronized in a deadly dance. Across the room, Hiro worked furiously at a terminal, attempting to upload the virus. "Cover me!" he shouted, his fingers flying over the keyboard. Yumi and Akira formed a protective ring around Hiro, their attacks a flurry of strikes and parries. The air was thick with the sound of clashing metal and the crackle of energy weapons. Ryo's focus was intense, his every move calculated. He fought his way towards Yuki, their eyes locking in a silent challenge. She drew a blade of her own, its edge glowing with an eerie light. Their duel was a clash of ideologies as much as skill. Yuki's attacks were relentless, a testament to her cybernetic enhancements. Ryo countered with a combination of traditional techniques and his own enhancements, their blades sparking as they met. "You're fighting a losing battle, Ryo," Yuki taunted, her voice cold. "Techno-Zenith represents the future. You're clinging to a past that's already dead." Ryo's response was a silent, determined strike. He saw an opening and pressed forward, driving Yuki back. His blade moved with a precision that spoke of years of training and a deep-seated resolve. Hiro's voice cut through the chaos. "It's done. The virus is in the system." The room's monitors flickered, the virus spreading through Techno-Zenith's network. Yuki's enforcers began to falter, their movements becoming erratic as the fail-safe codes activated. With a final, decisive strike, Ryo disarmed Yuki, her blade clattering to the floor. She staggered back, her eyes wide with shock and rage. "This isn't over," she hissed, but her defiance was hollow. Ryo's gaze was steely. "It is for now." The team regrouped, their breaths heavy but their spirits unbroken. They had struck a crippling blow to Techno-Zenith, but the battle had taken its toll. The headquarters was in disarray, the corporation's control shattered. As they made their way out, the city around them began to stir. News of Techno-Zenith's defeat spread like wildfire, igniting hope in the hearts of Tokyo's citizens. Ryo and his team emerged into the dawn, their faces illuminated by the first light of a new day. Kenji clapped Ryo on the shoulder. "We did it. We really did it." Ryo nodded, a rare smile crossing his face. "This is just the beginning. We've shown them that we will fight for our city, for our heritage, and for our future." The team stood together, united by their victory and their resolve. The fight for Tokyo's future was far from over, but they had taken the first crucial step. As the sun rose, casting its light over the city, Ryo knew that they were ready for whatever came next. Their spirits were unyielding, their determination unwavering. The battle for Tokyo had begun, and they were prepared to see it through to the end. The days following Techno-Zenith's defeat were a whirlwind of activity. Tokyo's citizens, emboldened by the fall of the corporate giant, took to the streets in celebration and solidarity. The once ominous presence of Techno-Zenith's enforcers was now a memory, replaced by the hope of a new beginning. Ryo and his team, however, knew that the battle was not entirely over. They had won a significant victory, but the task of rebuilding and ensuring a lasting peace was just beginning. Ryo stood at the balcony of their safe house, overlooking the city that had become their battleground. The morning air was crisp, filled with the sounds of a city awakening to a new era. Kenji joined him, his presence a comforting reminder of the bond they had forged through the fires of conflict. "Yuki won't stay down for long," Kenji said, his voice thoughtful. "She's too driven, too resourceful. We need to prepare for her next move." Ryo nodded. "I know, but for now we have to focus on restoring balance. We need to rebuild what was lost and ensure that no corporation ever gains such power again." The team gathered in the main room, their expressions a mix of exhaustion and determination. Hiro had been monitoring communications, and he shared an update. Techno-Zenith's infrastructure is in shambles. The virus did its job, but we're picking up chatter about Yuki regrouping with loyalists. They're planning something big. Yumi leaned forward, her eyes intense. "We can't let them regain their footing. We need to take the fight to them, dismantle their remaining assets and prevent any resurgence." Akira, always the strategist, added, "We've got the momentum. The people are on our side. If we can rally them, we can apply pressure on any remaining pockets of resistance." Ryo looked around at his team, pride swelling in his chest. They had come so far, faced insurmountable odds, and yet they stood ready to continue the fight. "We'll divide our efforts. Kenji, you and Yumi will lead the charge against any remaining Techno-Zenith strongholds. Hiro, Akira, and I will work on securing the support of the people and fortifying our defenses." The plan set, they moved out with the same precision and determination that had carried them through countless battles. Kenji and Yumi's team targeted known hideouts and resource caches, disrupting any attempts by Techno-Zenith to regroup. Their encounters were fierce, each skirmish a reminder of the resolve of those still loyal to Yuki's vision. In one such confrontation, Kenji and Yumi found themselves facing a fortified bunker on the outskirts of the city. The defenses were formidable, but they had a secret weapon: the support of the local community. Word of their efforts had spread, and the people of Tokyo were eager to aid in the fight. Under the cover of night, they moved in. Kenji's blade was a flash of steel, cutting through the darkness with deadly precision. Yumi's martial prowess complemented his, her movements fluid and powerful. They breached the outer defenses, making their way to the heart of the bunker. Inside, the battle was intense. Technozenith's loyalists fought with a desperation born of fear, but Kenji and Yumi were unstoppable. They moved as one, their synergy honed through countless battles. The clash of steel and the crackle of energy weapons filled the air, but the outcome was inevitable. As the last defender fell, Yumi accessed the central computer, downloading crucial data that would help in their continued efforts. "We've got what we need," she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Meanwhile, Ryo, Hiro, and Akira worked tirelessly to rally the citizens of Tokyo. They held meetings, organized rallies, and coordinated with local leaders. The people's response was overwhelming. The fall of Technozenith had ignited a fire within them, a desire to reclaim their city and shape its future. Ryo addressed a large gathering in the heart of the samurai district. "We have faced great adversity, but we have emerged stronger. Together, we will rebuild our city. We will ensure that no one entity ever holds such power over us again. This is our city, our home, and we will protect it." The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers a testament to the unity and strength that now defined Tokyo. Hiro and Akira worked behind the scenes, ensuring that the infrastructure was secure and that the virus remained active in any remaining Technozenith systems. As the days turned into weeks, the city began to heal. Buildings were repaired, communities strengthened, and a new sense of hope permeated the air. Ryo and his team continued their vigilance, always ready to respond to any threat, but also focused on fostering the peace they had fought so hard to achieve. One evening, as the sun set over the rebuilt skyline of Tokyo, Ryo stood once again on the balcony of their safe house. Kenji joined him, and together they looked out over the city they had saved. "We did it," Kenji said quietly. Ryo nodded. "Yes, we did. But this is just the beginning. We'll always need to protect what we've built." Kenji smiled. "I wouldn't have it any other way." As the first stars appeared in the night sky, Ryo felt a deep sense of satisfaction. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. The future was uncertain, but they were ready for whatever came next. Together, they had restored balance to Tokyo and secured a legacy of hope and resilience for generations to come. Months had passed since the fall of Technozenith. The once imposing headquarters had been repurposed into a center for community development, a symbol of the city's resilience and renewal. The streets of Tokyo thrummed with a renewed sense of purpose and hope. The people had reclaimed their city, and it was thriving in ways it hadn't in years. Ryo walked through the bustling market in the heart of the samurai district, taking in the sights and sounds of a city reborn. Stalls overflowed with fresh produce, handmade crafts, and the laughter of children echoed through the air. The community had come together, rebuilding not just the infrastructure, but the spirit of Tokyo. Kenji met Ryo at the edge of the market, his face reflecting the peace that had settled over the city. "The council meeting is about to start," he reminded Ryo. Ryo nodded, following Kenji through the winding streets to the newly established council hall. This council, made up of community leaders, former resistance fighters, and representatives of various districts, had been formed to ensure that the power remained with the people. Inside the hall, the atmosphere was charged with the energy of collaboration. Hiro was already there, discussing security measures with other members. Akira was deep in conversation with local engineers about further infrastructure improvements. Yumi stood at the front, outlining plans for a new educational initiative aimed at preserving Tokyo's cultural heritage while embracing technological advancement. As Ryo took his seat, the room quieted. Yumi addressed the council, her voice steady and confident. "Our progress has been incredible, but we must remain vigilant. We've received reports of Technozenith loyalists attempting to regroup outside the city. We need to stay united and ensure our defenses are strong. Hiro added, we've fortified our networks, but we can't be complacent. Our best defense is the continued engagement and empowerment of our citizens. Ryo spoke next, his voice carrying the weight of his experiences. We have faced and overcome great adversity, but our greatest strength lies in our unity. We must remember why we fought, and ensure that no one entity ever holds such power over us again. The council discussed strategies, allocating resources to strengthen community bonds and improve defenses. It was clear that while the immediate threat had been neutralized, the work of maintaining peace and freedom was ongoing. As the meeting concluded, Ryo felt a sense of pride in the progress they had made. The city was not just surviving, it was flourishing. He stepped outside, where Kenji joined him once more. You've done well, Ryo, Kenji said, admiration in his voice. We all have. This is the Tokyo we fought for. Ryo looked out over the city, the skyline glowing with the promise of a bright future. It is, and it's just the beginning. We need to stay true to our principles and continue to build on this foundation. Kenji nodded in agreement. We will, together. In the weeks that followed, Ryo and his team continued their efforts to strengthen Tokyo. They held workshops on traditional arts and cybernetic enhancements, fostering a culture of respect for the past while embracing the future. They established programs to help former Technozenith employees integrate into the new society, turning potential adversaries into allies. One day, as Ryo was walking through the rebuilt city, he came across a group of children practicing kendo in a park. Their instructor, an elderly man with a serene demeanor, was teaching them the values of honor and discipline. Ryo watched for a moment, his heart swelling with hope. The instructor noticed him and approached, bowing respectfully. Matsumoto-san, it's an honor to meet you. Your efforts have given us a future to look forward to. Ryo returned the bow. The honor is mine. It's people like you who will ensure our city remains strong and united. As he continued his walk, Ryo felt a profound sense of fulfillment. They had faced darkness and emerged into the light, stronger and more united than ever. The future was uncertain, but with the resilience and determination of its people, Tokyo was ready to face whatever came next. Ryo returned to the safe house, now a bustling community center. Kenji, Yumi, Hiro, and Akira were there, each contributing in their own way to the ongoing efforts. They greeted him with smiles and nods of acknowledgement, their camaraderie a testament to the bond they had forged. Together, they had not only defeated a powerful enemy, but had also laid the groundwork for a brighter, more inclusive future. As the sun set over Tokyo, casting a warm glow over the city, Ryo knew that they had truly created a new dawn for their beloved home. The legacy of their struggle would endure, a beacon of hope and resilience for generations to come. And in that moment, Ryo felt a deep peace, knowing that they had not only protected their city, but had also set it on a path toward a brighter future. Did you find the golden star in the video? If you did, leave a comment with the time you saw it to be mentioned in our next video. Thanks for spending a moment of your day with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps a lot. If you don't, well, I'll still love you. Thanks for stopping by.